Whenever I'm flying and that plane finally touches the ground, it's a feeling of relief beyond description. It's 1,000 weights off my shoulder. There's that cliche, it's the journey, not the destination. But for me, when it comes to flying, the journey is not good. I've been very fortunate the last few years to do a fair amount of travel, both personal and for work, and I wanted to share some of my experiences. I haven't planned out everything I'm going to say, but I do have some ideas and themes I might bring up regularly. And the first one was taking in the moment. A few years ago, I was in Washington, D.C. to record a radio documentary, and it was an amazing trip. We visited the Capitol Building, the Air and Space Museum, the Kennedy Center, but the highlight was a visit to the White House. Somehow we managed to get media credentials to the Teacher of the Year event hosted by President Obama in the East Room. It was an incredible thrill to be there. So I'm there in the East Room and I'm recording audio and I'm taking photos and video. And my friend Paul, who was the co-producer on the documentary with me, he taps me on the shoulder and he says, "Put down the camera, take in the moment," which I did. And I appreciate that he said that to me because if anything was a once-in-a-lifetime experience, this was it. So I put the camera down, just soaked it in, marveled at the unlikelihood of us being there at all. I mean, President Obama was only in the room for 15 minutes. Since then, I've tried as best I can to put the cameras down and just appreciate the moment whenever I'm traveling. I'm not always successful. I do have a real compulsion to take many, many photos, but it is something I try to do. A year after Washington, I was in London on a business trip, and on the last day I visited Primrose Hill. Now, Primrose Hill is a spot in London where you can get a view of the whole city and the skyline, and after taking the requisite photos and videos, I did put the cameras down and just sat there for about half an hour and just appreciated this great trip and that I was there. The next idea I might touch on in these videos is a feeling I get usually on a business trip because I don't get to pick the destination or the itinerary, and it's the feeling of, what am I doing here? This is a photo of me in a cable car over the Songhua River in the city of Harbin, China. What the photo doesn't show is that I am very hungover after drinking more wine the previous night than I have ever had ever. Maybe I'll tell the story someday. It's not much of a story. Wine, vomit, and regret. That's the gist of it. So I may be smiling in this photo, but I remember what I was thinking. I was thinking, what am I doing here? The last thing I'm likely to talk about is trains. I love trains. It doesn't matter what they are. Subways, monorails, bullet trains. I'm like a 6-year-old. I'm going on a train! I think I was the only person riding the tube in London during rush hour with a big smile on his face. I was listening for those famous Mind the Gap announcements. Listen, listen.
The next station is Edgware Road. Change for Circle and District Line services via High Street, Kensington.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform.
There it is. You see, those are the things that make it worth getting on a plane. Well, that's everything for today. Please feel free to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Let's see if we can hit double-digit subscribers sometime in the next decade. I'm going to leave you with a video of some trains. This was taken at Hamamatsucho Station in Tokyo. This is one of those spots where every 5 seconds another train goes by. It's awesome. So until next time, remember, it's the destination, not the journey. Never the journey.